Hello and welcome to the Business Octopus, where we talk about all things sales, marketing, and technology. I'm Avon Cullis, CRM and Marketing Automation Specialist at Relevate and all-round good guy. Today, I am joined with the wonderful Chris Bantock from Agency Local, here to talk about professional and personal development for the marketing community. Welcome, Chris. How are you today?
I'm good, thanks, Avon. Nice to be here. Thank you for the invite.
No worries at all. So we were talking a little bit offline before, and we were talking around some of the problems that new people come to when they're joining the marketing community. So maybe they've found a passion, they're learning about it, or maybe they've sort of been forced into finding a new career path. You tell us a bit more about your thoughts around that.
Yes, I mean, from my experience, a lot of people that are running marketing agencies today often start out because they've got a passion about something or a training about something, an element. So, I'm passionate and been fully trained in design. I've been trained in web development. I've been trained in photography, whatever it is, video, copywriting, branding, and they get successful, they get some clients, and the business starts to grow, and that's great, fantastic. But then there comes this sort of tipping point where they go, oh, I'm running a business now, and actually I've never been trained in running a business. And it's that point where it's that transition, if you like, from following your passion and doing what you're trained in, to then actually transitioning to being a business owner and running and growing a business.
So do they have to have done like a course? Like, I know that YouTube's really, really popular, and sometimes, you look at all these Richard Branson things and they say yes and figure out how to do it later. So how many times have you seen people do that and then go, oh, damn, now I've got like commitments and contracts and stuff?
All the time. A lot of people sort of learn on the job how to run a business and make mistakes and learn that way. And, that's a fantastic way of learning. However, if there are ways that you can avoid making those mistakes and the impact of those mistakes, i.e. learning from other people or just expanding your knowledge, applying new thoughts and ideas to your business, then that makes that whole journey so much easier. I mean, I've did a business studies degree. I've done an MBA, Management of Business Administration. I've run a business for over sort of 15 years. Do I know everything? Absolutely not. I'm constantly learning.
Yeah.
However, I've learned a lot through both academic and also experience to be able to help other people sort of avoid some of those mistakes and see it when it's happening.
So what are the sort of phases that someone goes through? Like, if we really sort of break it down into the details, like where does someone start and where should they or do they end up?
That's a really, really good question, because there are lots of different phases. So, the sort of the startup phase, and I liken the different phases to the journey of a child. So the toddler sort of phase is often acting as a freelancer. So that is running yourself, your own business with your passion, working either directly with client or with other agencies, but the business is you. The next phase, when you're sort of getting into into teenager type territory, is where your business expands. You take on employees. You often become a more formal structure, governance in terms of, you know, a limited company as opposed to a self-employed, and that opens up a whole can of worms in terms of growth of the business, because once you've got employees on, you know, you're responsible for paying their wages, you're responsible for where they work often. You know, it's just a whole new area to think about. And then once you're into the sort of the adolescence phase, that's where you're really beginning to grow the business and scale the business. So this is where you're looking to get up to, you know, £500,000, £1 million turnover businesses, and then, you know, then you're sort of into the proper game and really looking to scale that up. If, you know, the next stage is taking that into sort of maturity, where, you know, you're developing it 2 million, 5 million, 10 million, but not everybody wants to get to that stage. Quite often they're quite happy, you know, being sort of, you know, the adolescent or the teenager or whatever, but running their business. But each of one of those stages has different challenges.
I know that there's different sort of like inflection points. You know, you've got the lifestyle business. People, like you mentioned, people are quite happy being a teenager. You know, just turning up and earning enough just to, you know, go to the park and, you know, play with the dog on the weekend, or, you know, go for a little holiday every now and then, and that's just enough. You know, it's a lifestyle business. They don't need to do much more. And I think that, you know, there is a trade-off in terms of the amount of you know, stress someone might go through, or the, you know, amount of accountability and responsibility that they want to go through as well. So there's definitely a choice there. And I think, you know, when you're talking about inflection points, that you could get up to that position, and ideally, you know, if you've got everything sorted, you can have that lifestyle business where you've got some systems and processes, you've got some, like, you know, maybe some automation going on in the background that makes you seem bigger than just a one man band, and you can still, you know, have those relaxing times. And whereas other people would be in the exact same position and would be absolutely floundering because, you know, they don't have those knowledge, that experience, those decision rules to reduce the amount. So you can either have a really good version of what you want at whatever scale, or a really bad one, depending on what you know and your experience in that. Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think even if you've managed to get to that lifestyle business that you're happy with, then, you know, you still have to, there's still things that you can do to improve your business, to make it a good business.
Yeah.
A lot of it comes down to what the owner's end goal for the business is.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, there are only really 3 outcomes for a business. One is you shut it down.
Yeah.
2 is you give it away.
Yeah.
Or the third one is you sell it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people want that aspiration of actually selling their business.
And probably 4 is it gets pulled out from under you.
Well, that's right. So, but for 2 and 3, if you want to give it away or sell it, then, you know, you want to give away or sell a good business. People are only going to buy a good business.
Yeah, yeah.
They're not going to buy something that hasn't got processes, hasn't got an automation, you know, part of what they do, hasn't got a good customer base with strong relationships. You know, people aren't going to buy that. So even with a lifestyle business, you know, having that, you know, it's almost the journey of continuous learning.
Yeah.
That I think we're all on. And there are always ways of improving the business, whether you're a lifestyle, a scale, or maturity.
I think there's, you know, I've been chatting with some business brokers, and there are plenty of businesses where this person's been, you know, very successful in their lifestyle business over, you know, 20 years building it up, and then they go and they want to retire, and they're like, oh, I'll sell my business and then I'll go. But it's not worth anything other than the stock. And, you know, if you're in a marketing business, you don't really have a lot of stock. You know, this particular example was a motorbike shop. So I'm sure the parts would be worth something, but maybe if they kept like a customer list or something, that might be transferable then to the next person. So, you know, little details certainly do add up.
Well, the other challenge like that is, yes, it's about that worth of the business. Now, if that owner is still the person involved in the delivery and the business runs around that person, then that business is not as attractive to one that operates without that owner in place. So, I often say to business owners, you've got one job, you've got one task to achieve. Do yourself out of a job.
Yeah.
Because, there's two ways of looking at it. One, it means that you can get the lifestyle business that you want, i.e. the business is running by itself.
Yeah.
But, you're taking what you want out of the business.
Yeah.
But secondly, it makes it so much more attractive to a potential buyer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So what's next once it's up and running after, like, obviously there's, succession planning involved. There's, finding and training all of those new people. That's a lot of stuff to build up. Is that something that someone could just do overnight?
I don't believe so. I think it's something that takes time. Building a culture takes time. Building teams takes time. Getting that team to work effectively takes time.
Yeah.
But I mean, having a journey of continual growth. If you're on a growth path, then that's great. Even if that's sort of 10% year on year, or if you're going to really fly, try 20% year on year. But you're going to keep coming to the different challenges. The challenges will change on that journey.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, with a small business and trying to breach through those certain gateways of moving to the next level, how does, obviously at a small scale, you spend all this time trying to, you find your first client, then you go and you do all the jobs and you do all the work, and then it's done, and then you're sitting there going, damn, where's my next client? So then you got to go back out and you got to go find the client again and then do the work. It seems a bit of a vicious cycle, doesn't
it? Yes, it is. It's that it's that constant cycle wave of business, which often really impacts a business owner, because you got feast and famine, and the amount of stress that puts on somebody. But it's so many, I see it time and time again, where businesses, they get 2 or 3 clients, they then focus on delivery. But they have to deliver to that client. Then that project's complete, they've done the job, brilliant. Oh, we didn't do any business development while we were doing the delivery, so we've got no leads. Oh, we better get on the sales side now. And of course there is a delay. So there's a gap there. And whereas persuading business agency owners to they should always be selling. They should always allocate some time to going out and building those relationships, building the funnel. And this is where automation and technology and CRM and things like that really help, because if you've got those systems and processes set up that are automated, then that becomes so much easier. And hopefully the idea is to get out of that feast and famine cycle and to have a continuous curve of activity.
I think sometimes it's important just to sort of have your finger on the pulse of analytics and data and what's going on. I think that sometimes you get people look at their account balance or their profit and loss, which is generally if they haven't updated it, it's probably like a month or 2 behind, and that's not very future focused. So from my perspective, it's very important to have a few metrics that are future based, in terms of, all right, well, we've got 1 big client, 5 middle clients, and 20 small clients in the pipeline. As soon as you burn one, either by making them a customer, or they just say, no, I'm not interested, then you got to replace that one with a new one. So I know there's all sorts of mindsets and metrics around that. And a lot of times businesses will get like a whale of a client where, when you've got those 3 clients and you've got one that, is big and then they fall off the wagon and then those other 2 really don't cut it to pay your rent. So obviously that sort of understanding and those sort of experiences sort of take they take a village for you to really understand. So how do you solve that problem?
One of the key things is looking, and it's almost sort of a nemesis, is to try and get an element of your revenue as recurring income.
Yes.
Because that will even out the curve. So if you've got X amount of revenue coming in month after month, that is there, it's visible, it's tangible, it's it's going to happen, then the cycles go on top of that. So you get projects on top of those. But in marketing world, it used to be sort of retainers, and they are so much harder to persuade customers to buy into that sort of retainer now. But you see quite a lot of innovative ways of doing it. There's one web development agency I know near me. They focus on the small business market who quite often cannot afford the one-off cost of building a new website. So they've put in place a payment plan that customers buy into for, and they spread those payments over 2 to 3 years. And therefore they are a customer for that 2 or 3 years. They've got predictable income for 2 to 3 years.
And they're probably going to come back to them again for your future work. When it grows, it gets better. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, finding those creative ways of generating, recurable income is actually quite key.
I think that, every business is different. Obviously, that's the website example. But then, like, how do you do that for Facebook marketing, or how do you do that for, network marketing, copywriting? So I think that, you mentioned about having that marketing community, and that, it takes a village, and it takes more than a few conversations to really sort of nut out different things. And I guess, in terms of having that marketing community, I think that's a really a wise thing. And as far as being able to, involve people, if anyone wanted to get involved in your community, how would they go about that?
Well, Agency Local, I mean, just before I sort of answer that in how people can get involved, I think the essence of a community is essential, especially at the moment in the times that we're in. And I ran an agency for 12 years, and I operated in a silo. There were other agencies around me. Did we ever meet up? No. But so Agency Local is now a community for like-minded agency owners.
Yeah.
And a community is there, because it gives you belonging.
Yeah.
It helps meet other like-minded businesses, and you get support in terms of it's a forum to actually air some of the challenges that you're having as a business, and other people can help chip in, support, and help and develop. It's also another element for going back to the continuous learning. We put on events, there's peer-to-peer support groups and one-to-one mentoring and coaching. So that ongoing development and learning of not only yourself but also your business is key to that element. So Agency Local you can find us at agencylocal.co.uk. We are primarily UK focused, although that I've just put up a blog on LinkedIn today entitled "The World Has Just Gone on a 90-degree wash and is shrinking," because
well, I was going to say it's going to be called. You're going to have to change your name. It's Agency Global now, because I'm in Brisbane and here we are doing our podcast.
I know.
And we were just on another call with about 80 other people from all over the world. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And, from the coaching and mentoring side of things for agency owners, as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't matter where you are, because I've not found a single location globally where agency owners are not really facing very, very similar problems.
I think the problems, as long as they're human, are the same, as long as their taxes are localized. And perhaps maybe in terms of marketing attributes may be localized as well. Obviously, you get things like the IKEA catalog. They because of Islamic culture, they block out the women in the kitchen photos or something like that. So there's various methods there, but maybe that's something that could be, if you're trying to do some marketing in a new country, I'm sure there's someone there that could give you that cultural background and, hey, be aware of this, or here's a website, or here's a YouTube channel. That sounds like a fantastic resource.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Agency Global. Thank you.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on, and I really appreciate your time today. If you want to learn more about Agency Local and you want to have a chat with Chris, you can go to agencylocal.co.uk, as he mentioned. If you want to check him out on LinkedIn, both the website and the LinkedIn URL will be in the comments of this episode. Otherwise, thank you for listening to the podcast. And if you have any questions or you'd like to be on the show, you can check out more at relevate.com.au and fill out the contact form. Otherwise, thank you for listening and take care.